everyone. Welcome to Pilates class A. This evening we are going to start with our feet shoulder width apart. And let's just take some reaches up, trying to touch the ceiling. Holding both arms up, actively reaching, lifting the rib cage off of the hips. Great, and I'm just going to go slightly to the corner, and then let's just take a swing down, but it's more just to start with, just a bend of your knees. Keep your back nice and upright. Keep the head in line. And just play about maybe a bit with those feet. So as you swing the arms down, maybe lift the toes up, transfer the weight onto the backs of the heels. As you get a little bit more comfortable, let's go a little bit lower if you can and or you want to. Maybe let that head hang at the base of the swing and then coming all the way back up again. Let's add on a couple of whole arm circles if that's okay for you, or just the elbows circling back, or just a big double shoulder roll. Maybe start with the shoulders and then next time do the elbows. So big swing, this is elbows, just moving that rib cage around, and another one, double arm circle, couple more. So just taking those arms or those elbows or the shoulders all the way back. It continues the movement as you come up. That's great. One more for luck. Bending your knees over your toes. And there we go. Wonderful. Let's have a little look at just warming up feet and hands and toes and fingers. So let's stand on one leg to start with and just circle the foot at the ankle. So standing up nice and tall, shoulders and hips level, and then get the hands joining in at the wrist. Standing leg nice and straight. Changing direction. Whoop. Good, and see if you can get a bit of toes going as well. Toes spreading apart, fingertips twiddling, it's all going on. Arms and the leg staying still. Brilliant, swapping sides. So remember, you're trying to go all the way to the very edges of your range of mobility, range of motion. Right, so if you imagine you're getting the last of the peanut butter or something out of the jar with your fingertips. Good. Not that you'd be using your foot for that, but you know what I mean? Same sort of thing. Twiddling toes, make sure you've changed direction. Standing up nice and tall. Standing leg fairly straight. And just if you need to, just always brush that toe to the floor as you go around in your circles. Wonderful. Give it a bit of a shake. So we're going to rise up onto the balls of the feet and then just lower one heel at a time. And then I don't need to be too precise with this. We're just still warming up feet, ankles, all the way through to the toes, thinking about your balance as well. So now as you lower one heel, so at the moment we're lowering on a straight leg, lifting the other heel up, swapping over. So I'm pushing over my toes, getting a bit of a stretch on my instep underneath my foot. And then I'm going to add to that straight leg a knee bend. So the knees are going fully over the toes, but my spine is staying really upright. Up to the top, lower the heel, bend. So now I'm getting quite a strong stretch in my calf and through the Achilles tendon. Trying not to stick my bottom out because I've got a rubbish bend here. Very tempting to pitch forwards with the back, but I'm trying to stay upright. From the front, we're going over, knees over toes. The middle of your knee is between your second and your third toe. Although I don't need to be too precise, equally I don't want all this to happen. So hips dropping and that ankle collapsing. And then let's just add on So these are slow pony trots, a pointing of your foot, or just finishing off the toes at the end, popping the toes I sometimes call it. So you bent the toes over there and you just push against the floor, and then your toes finish off the movement. Great, and just rolling through from one leg to the other. See if you can go all the way through, straight leg, then bend, then pop the toes. Straight leg, bend, pop the toes. I can't say that too many times, so I won't say that anymore. Excellent, okay, hopefully that should feel nice and warmed up on the feet and the ankle side. So let's stay shoulder width apart, and we're going to take some figure of eight, like a figure of eight or an infinity sign, but also I call these butterfly arms. Imagine there's a pool of water just in front of you, and you're sort of trailing your hands around, your fingertips around in the water. So hands are staying nice and low. As you come forwards with those hands, and as they cross over in front of you, allow your shoulders to round forwards and then pin them back a little bit. Round forwards and pin them back. And I've bent my knees and I'm very slightly tucked under in my pelvis, just because as the movement is getting a bit bigger and as I'm wanting to move around more, I'm pushing my pelvis sort of against the rib cage, if that makes sense. So I'm tucking the pelvis under, pushing the ribs back a little bit, especially on this position when the shoulders are really rounded, and then opening up the chest. So tucking the pelvis under, coming back to a neutral. Try not to go completely the other way, or stay fairly, no, I'm releasing actually, I'm releasing to a neutral. So there, and release. Now try this whole thing, same pattern, but you're obviously not in a pool of water now. Your fingertips are drawing the line in front of you. Same sort of shape, but just wider, bigger with those arms. Longer lever. Great. Okay, let's lift the chest, looking up to the ceiling. Stick your bottom out, arch your back, find your legs. Elbows are out to the side, fingertips are in, head hangs down last, and then you really scoop that tummy, the back leads all the way up. So this is your chest and back lift. Lifting the chest, looking up, arch the back, find your legs. Use your legs for a bit of support. The head finishes off that first half of the movement, and then when you tuck under, the head finishes off the movement again. Lifting at the top, lifting the chest, and then lifting up via your back. Couple more if you can. Get it a little bit bigger as you warm up, as you feel confident with it. If you don't feel confident with it, or your back's feeling a little bit niggly, just keep it quite small. As long as you switch on the right muscles, as long as you're supporting, especially in that lower abdomen, for the when you're coming up, the second half of it, it should actually give you confidence to be able to move your spine a little bit more. That's the idea of that one. Okay, let's go to shoulder width apart again. Let's reach up, just about 4 of these, lifting the rib cage off, and then let's drop the arms down, lower the eye line, be really parallel and square to your front, keeping that rib cage lifted, and then we're gently going from side to side. So side bends, this is the lowest level of this movement. I want you to think about your weight being even on both feet. The hips stay still. Hips, pelvis remaining in exactly the same place. There's no transference of weight from side to side. Great, let's hold over one side. Now lift this elbow. So maybe trace the thumb up the side seam of your torso until the elbow's really high, the hand is just dangling, and then we're going to take that arm straight up to the ceiling and then come upright. Over to the other side. This is important first to do this bit. Trace your thumb up the side seam of your torso, of your t-shirt, your top. Let the hand be dangling, the elbows are up as high as it can go. Then extend the arm, so it's a beautiful straight line all the way up to the ceiling, and then come upright. Let's do that one more each side. So tracing, elbow high, straighten the arm and come up and over. No pushing away, no change in weight on the feet. Elbow nice and high, straight arm and coming up. Great, adding on over to the side. Elbow, trace, and then take that straight arm. From here, keep everything exactly where it is. Excuse me. Just increase that side bend by just taking the arm from the ceiling over to continue that lovely curve in your upper body, and then coming upright. Over to the side. Trace, elbows high, you just extend the arm, and then you continue that beautiful side bend, really at the side seam of your torso. Let's take that one more time. I'm going to add on a little bit. Elbow is high, straight arm up, sweep the arm across, and now push the hip over. So you're going to get a little bit lower maybe with that back, and then bend the knees and relax down in the middle. Just hang, nod your head, shake your head, make sure there's absolutely no tension in the neck. Legs are bent, and then I'm just going to try and straighten my legs, stretching the hamstrings, stretching the backs of the knees, and soften the knees 3 or 4 times. When you straighten your legs, breathe out. When you soften the knees, breathe in. So it's not a big knee bend, it's just a relaxation of that stretch that you're going to get when you get that movement. When you straighten those legs, sorry. And then rolling up, let the arms hang, tuck the pelvis under, push the pubic bone forwards, unravel all the way to the top. I need to do that on the other side. Hopefully you remember which side you were on. So tracing, elbow is high, straight arm, stretch the arm across, then push the hips away, go right to the outside edge of your feet, don't hold it for too long. Relax all the way down again, nod the head, shake the head. Both legs are bent. This time I just want you to straighten one leg and then straighten the other leg. So you're alternating one leg straight, one leg bent. Notice and feel maybe, or be very aware, or have a look at my hips, that as you do this, your hips drop from side to side. I call this seesaw hips. So when I've got straight legs, you just about see that, I can see that my hips are level. When I bend one knee and then the other, you end up with one hip higher than the other. So staying down there just for a few of those, and then let's bend both knees and roll up through the spine. So that's that bending of one leg and straightening of the other. We're going to use that movement. Just have a little look before you go into the next one. So you're going to be down here, you're going to have one leg straight and one leg bent. The straight leg side, I'm going to take the same arm up to the ceiling. So my hips, this hip is higher, and then as I take this arm up, this shoulder is going to be higher than the other arm. From there, we're going to unravel. And it looks really nice and it feels really nice as well. I'm just going to do the other side to show you. So both legs bent, one leg straightened, this hip is higher, the straight leg hip is higher. As I take that straight arm around and up to the side, this shoulder is now higher. It actually feels quite nice, and then you unravel yourself like Pooh Bear. Here we go. One more on each side. So we're over to the side, we're tracing. Lifting the elbow, taking the straight arm up. Stretching the arm across and then pushing the hips across, don't get stuck. Relax all the way down. Straighten one leg, bend the other, it doesn't matter which. Just think about the arm that you just had up. So straighten that side leg. So if you're mirroring me, just do the same as I'm, just mirror me, just copy from me from the front. And then I'm going to straighten that leg, I'm going to take that same arm that was above my head up to the ceiling, rotating round, and then I'm unraveling. One more on the other side. Over to the side, elbow comes up, straight arm, stretch across, push the hips across, bend those knees, relax all the way down, straighten maybe 3 times, alternating legs. Keep the other leg straight this time, that hip is high. Open up that same side arm up to the ceiling, so shoulders and hips at the same angle, and then unravel yourself all the way to the top. So an elbow lead, side bend and a roll up is what we had there. Great job. Okay, just nice and relaxed to finish off that rotational aspect. Feet wide, shoulder width apart, and just let those arms wrap from side to side. Keep your head forwards initially. Be really nice and upright, and then add on just gently looking behind you. If you can actually see something behind you, try and connect with it. Check that you can see an equal amount on both sides, or you're going an equal amount both sides. You'll probably find one side is slightly tighter. Okay, we're going to go into some narrow hip hinges, mini hip hinges to start with. So feet just slightly outside of your hip width. So hip width technically is your hip bones, your ASIS at the front of the hips. We're going to be slightly outside of that, just to be a tiny bit more comfortable, but really nice and parallel with those insteps. And then just sending the bottom back and coming upright. So the only thing that changes is the hinge at the hips. Send that bottom back, shut the drawer behind you, shut the door behind you, got your hands full. Not using the hands, don't need to. One thing I do want you to explore a little bit here is just place the hand at the back of the head. So little finger is at the nape of your hairline, if you like, and my forefinger is at the top of my t-shirt. Basically my fingers are together and I'm just making that shape, and when I'm standing up nice and tall, just that's where it is. The hand fits quite comfortably in that position. As I take the mini hip hinge, so remember not to go too low, there shouldn't be any change in the position of your fingers, I guess is what it is. I can feel my neck muscles connecting and working a little bit, because we're basically pitching forwards and your head's a heavy thing for those neck muscles to hold it up, but that's fine. But what I generally see quite a lot of in this position is lifting the chin. So you continue to look at the same point. So if you lift your chin, you're going to feel like your fingers are being crushed. And also the other way is if you drop your head too low, you're going to feel like you've lost the connection between either your hairline or the t-shirt, and or maybe the fingers are coming apart a little bit. So that's really key. So just do a few more of those. There shouldn't be any change in those position with the hands, because basically you're keeping your neck at exactly the same angle. And then from there, let's move on to some narrow squats. So send that bottom back, get the weight right in your heels, and then push down through the heels as you come up. All the way down, all the way up. Again, if you want to, check the position of your neck, no change. Make sure that the knees are staying above the ankles, you're really sending your bottom back. Look at the angle of my spine. It's not really going to change, although we're going to take to another position with our legs in a moment. So sending the bottom back, and let's stay down there this time. Let's just hold that a moment. Maybe pitch the weight forwards, raise the heels, and then push those heels down. Holding the arms in place, keeping the shoulders in place, keeping that neck long. So rocking forwards onto the balls of the feet to lift the heels all the way up, then push those heels down. Or push the heels down, but also you're rocking your weight back into your heels, which is where you need to be. Great, and then let's come all the way up. So we're getting those legs working today. We're going to be working them a little bit harder. I've actually just noticed I was a bit wider then, so yeah, slightly outside of hip width apart, but not too wide. So we're going to change our timing around. Let's take 5 counts to go down into the deepest part of your squat and 5 counts to come up. So we're going slowly all the way down, slowly all the way back up. So we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pushing down through those heels as you come up. Let's do a couple more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees are over the toes. Push down. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And push up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. We're going to this time change the timing again. We're going to go down in 3 counts, push up quickly in 1. In fact, let's go down 4, push up in 1. So we've got 4, 3, 2, 1 and 5. That's really weird counting, I know, but anyway, go again. 4, 3, 2, 1 and push quickly to come up. And again, 4, 3, 2, 1 and push, and drive quickly up through, push down through those heels, push the hips forwards a little bit, open out the front of the hip. Last one. 4, 3, 2, 1 and up in 1. Great. We're going to go down in 1, coming up for 4. Here we go. Down in 1, up 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 1, up 2, 3, 4, 5. And down and hold a moment. And now coming up. 2, 3, 4, and down and hold. 2, 3, 4, coming up. 2, 3, 4. 2 more of these. Hold. Pushing down as you come up. Hopefully, holding it here last time, you're feeling some activation as you start to come up. And I'm talking about activation, hopefully. Fingers crossed in the buttocks. Don't worry if that's not quite happening, but hopefully it is. So now I'm going to go wider than my shoulders. I'm turning my legs out, 2 minutes to 2 minutes past the hour, making sure again that those knees go absolutely over second and third toe. No ankles rolling in, no knees rolling in, perfect symmetry from the front. So let's go down in 5, up in 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A little bit lower with those hips, but the chest is just as high. 2, 3, 4, 5 to fully straighten legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pushing down. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more of these. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Let's go down 4. Let's go down in 1 and hold it. Then let's do it the other way around actually. Down for 4, up for 1 quickly. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and push. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and push. Nice and quick when you come up. Try and get that explosive power in those legs. So don't start to come up. Hold it there and then push. 1 more of these for luck. 3, 2, 1 and push. Great. All the way down, we're going to hold it, then we're coming up in 4 counts. Down and hold. 2, 3, 4. And now drive through. And down and hold. 2. And push. 2. 2. And down. And push. Down through those heels, keep those knees pushing out. Hold this one. And push down through those heels and to come up. Well done. Okay, I'm going to be square onto the front. Turning my legs out fully as much as I can in my hip socket now. Bending my knees equally, keeping my spine in the middle. All the way down and up for our ballet plies. So if this isn't available to you because either hips or knees or something just isn't right, you don't have to do a full turned out version. Ideally you're keeping your spine nice and upright, but if you need to, go sort of in between the 2 positions, so not fully turned out and not as parallel as we were just now. We were just slightly off parallel, so go to the corner and And make sure those knees go over the toes, that's absolutely the most important thing, and also you're in the middle, but do allow your back to pitch forwards a little bit. So you're getting a strong compression in the hip joint at the front, you're trying to drop those hips down, but if you can, stay really, really, really upright with that back. First couple are always a little bit tougher. Great, okay, down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push up, 2, 3, 4, 5, and heels down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, maybe raise the heels to come up. You don't have to do that bit if you don't want to. If you can, that'd be great. Maybe heels raised, woo, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, heels down for up. 2, 1 more set. I'm going to keep my heels down. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to raise my heels to come up. Yes, nice. Okay, down in 1. Hold it there. Pushing up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Down in 1. And push up. And down 1. And push up. 2, 3, 4, last one of this variety, pushing up, 2, 3, 4, down, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold, and push, and down, oops, a bit quick there, 4, and hold, and push, my legs again tight now, down, no, down in 1, and hold, and push up, oh, is that the wrong way around? I've lost it now. Slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold, and push up. Yes, that was the harder one at the end. Well done, give those legs a shake. Brilliant. Okay, we are going to go into some I've got itchy foot, or I've got bitten on my toe. We're going to go into some alternate lunges, backwards. So, I'm going to come and stand at the front edge of my yoga mat, hands on the hips or fingertips to temples to keep the chest upright. If that's not available to you, by all means use a wall, step back nice and strongly, make sure that you are bending both knees equally, but our goal, if you can, I'm going to start with my hands on my hips, is to just brush that back knee to the mat. So I'm challenging you quite a lot today. This is quite a tough class as far as alignment goes, strengthen the legs, but doing what you can and doing it with good awareness is what gets our technique better, which will ultimately improve the movement pattern and the alignment. So stepping back, keeping your hips and shoulders square. So this is what's nice about using a yoga mat, is you've got this line at the top. You're using that narrow edge, keeping everything in the same relationship, square onto that narrow part at the top. Great, okay, let's go, I'm going to swap the other leg just so I've got this open leg to you. So we're going to hold it here. We're going to clasp the hands and we're taking a figure of 8, if you can. I'm trying to tuck the pelvis under a little bit, so I'm getting a really nice stretch at the front of my hip. One of the 10 things to do every day. Legs are staying nice and still. Upper body is rotating as much as I can. This is the traditional, normal, natural way of doing your figure of 8. Now let's reverse it. Go up and underarm bowl, up and underarm bowl. Just clasping my hands together lightly to give me a little bit more, something to work with almost, I guess. We're going to push off from here into a T-balance. Arms are up by the ears. From here, I'm going to push my weight forwards into that front leg. I'm going to try and straighten it. You could just stay here and that would be absolutely fine. but make sure your arms are up by your ears and your leg is creating a straight line, a diagonal line from your hands to that back foot. Hips and shoulders square again to your front. This hip wants to open out. From there, if you want to go further, I like to bend my knee to start with. I'm going all the way forwards so that my spine, my torso is parallel to the floor. Arms are still up by the ears. You might be in a halfway position, which would probably be there. But if you can, try and get all chest, arms, back leg parallel to the floor. Take those arms round to the side, a bit more of a challenge. I've straightened my standing leg now, keeping the chin tucked in. Bring your arms all the way to your sides, palms facing inwards, and back out to the side. See if you can straighten that standing leg. It might not be possible. Bring the hands above the head again. We're just finishing off, opening up that angle at the front of the hip, lifting, down, lifting into a one leg balance. I was trying not to put that foot down, holding it there and relaxing. Okay, feeling the heat a little bit more. So put the other leg back. So the leg that you were just standing on, which should be feeling a little bit wobbly now, a little bit worked out, was the front leg. Swap your front leg over, take that leg back, nice and upright. Try and be pretty much the same height you were before. Tuck that pelvis under a bit if you need to, and then we are taking our figure of eights. And breathe. Now this is easier if you keep your head facing forwards. It's harder if you follow your hands with your eyes and your head, so you're rotating from side to side. Let's reverse the movement. Up and back, underarm bowl. Ooh, legs stay still. Testing the balance, testing the strength in those legs. Worked really hard today so far. 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Arms are up by the ears. Pitch all that weight all the way forwards. You only need to be in a little mini hinge at your hips, but stay in that diagonal line. You could just stay here, it's absolutely fine. If you can, you want more of a challenge, pitch your body forwards. Ooh, no balance on this side today. So try not to put that foot down, but if you need to, just reset yourself quickly. Arms are out by the side. For some reason, when my arms are here, I feel more able to try and straighten that standing leg. Keeping the chin tucked in. Think about your hand that was at the back of your neck earlier. Bring your arms by your side. Again, you're having to take tiny little shifts in where your centre of gravity is because of where you've put your arms. Arms back out to the side if you can. I'm going to bend my knee. I feel more able to balance when I've got my knee bent. Arms up by the ears. Reaching all the way forwards. Coming all the way up. Try not to put that foot down. Yes, managed it this side. Standing up. Really nice and tall. Shoulders are down. Lifting. Hips square to your front. Straight standing leg. And relax. Fantastic. Okay, we are going to come down to the floor and you're going to be sitting at the front of your mat, seated at the front of your mat with your legs bent for a seated C curve when we get down there. Here we go. Move your monitors. A seated C curve does what it says on the tin. Legs are in this position. They pretty much stay where they are. You take that tuck under, that pelvic tilt, you scoop your tummy to create a capital C from the top of your head all the way through your spine to your sacrum. Maybe you can balance here a little bit just by lifting those feet off. So I'm relatively comfortable, I'm on my sacrum. Stay scooped, stay rounded until the shoulders are over the hips and then sit tall. Now, You could almost say it's uncomfortable. It's hard work for sure. My sit bones are digging into the floor, like they're drilling a hole straight down through to the underneath the floorboards. Then when I take the C curve, relaxes the fronts of the hips, but I'm working much more strongly in that lower abdomen especially, but come into this balanced position. Great, and then feet are down, shoulders are over the hips. This time, I'm going to move back a tiny bit. As you get your shoulders over your hips and you come upright, straighten out the legs, lift the arms up. So you're trying to reach up to the ceiling. Flex the feet as you roll forwards, getting quite a strong stretch on your hamstrings, the backs of your legs, your lower back, maybe let that head hang. And then we're going to roll back again. Start the movement with the legs straight. Imagine someone's got hold of your waistband, they're pulling you back behind you, but you're just being pulled back from this part, so you're still in that rounded position. Bring one leg in. So this is relatively comfortable. This leg's on the floor, I'm in my C curve, I'm on my sacrum. I'm going to extend that leg at 45 degrees, I'm going to extend my arms so they're at the same sort of angle. And then as I lower that leg, I'm reaching up to the ceiling, being right up on those sit bones, flexing the feet, rolling all the way forwards. Let's take 3 more of those. Change which leg you bring into you, which knee you bring in each time. Extending leg, extending arms, and then lifting as you lower that leg all the way up, flexing the feet. Ideally going a little bit more each time, rounding the back, scooping that tummy, reaching up, shoulders nice and square, then flex the feet. Don't worry if you can't get your hands over your toes, just reach towards the lower leg. Last single, I think you know what that means. We're reaching up to the ceiling and we're flexing. Let's take 2 or 3 doubles, or just do another couple of singles, maybe 4 singles. Legs are together now, just to give me a bit more support. Pelvis is tucked under, and then you're lowering those legs as you're lifting up, opening out the feet to flex forwards. We'll just make that a little bit more comfortable. Bring your legs together as you roll back. Doesn't do much help when your mat rolls up. Round your lower back, roll under, extend those legs. Try and lift the chest almost, so the pelvis is tucked under, but you're lifting your chest, and then we're all the way up. Open out those feet. There. And we're going to do one more for luck. Rounding, extending, lifting, lifting, lifting. Oops, a bit quick on that one. Flexing the feet and coming all the way forwards. Brilliant. Okay, let's come back to our seated C-curve position. Actually, almost from here. So again, imagine you're being pulled back here, and then bend those legs in. I'm going to round my back all the way down to the floor. It's like I'm doing a roll down, but I'm going to get to this point where my mid-lower back is in the mat, my arms are straight and my legs are dangling. Essentially, I've created this C-curve and I'm just keeping it there. Now, my proportions, we had a discussion about this on Saturday, my proportions mean that I can keep my arms quite straight, and that works for me. If you've got if you're really long-limbed, you might need to have your arms bent, but the thing to do is maintain the shape of your back whilst you take this, which is abdominal rocking. So you're not even just maintaining the shape of your back, you're maintaining all these angles. So this angle, this angle, this angle, whether that's slightly bent or straight like mine is, nothing is changing. So it's not this, it's not a drawing in, changing all those angles and then extending. Everything is staying in the same position. I'm really scooped in my tummy. It's called abdominal rocking. It's strong. Okay, I'm going to hug one knee in. I'm going to extend the other leg along the floor. My spine is still in that same shape. Imagine a rocking horse, the base of a rocking horse. That's the shape I've created, it doesn't change. Swap legs. I'm hanging onto this knee for dear life. It's helping me keep my upper body lifted off of the floor. It's helping me stay rounded, stay scooped. I'm pulling this knee in towards my shoulder, opening up this hip here. From here, we're going to take some switches. Let's do 8 of them. So single leg stretch. We're cheating a little bit from traditional Pilates, as in because we're hanging onto this knee, but pulling that knee in. But that's fine. It lessens the stress on the neck because your head is above your shoulders. I have no idea how many I've done. I'm going to straighten both legs, lengthen both legs away, straighten my arms, coming back into abdominal rocking. I'm going to take 8 of these. 3, 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1, into 8 single leg stretch. 7, 6, 5. This would be a slightly more traditional Pilates grip. 3, 2, 1. 2 more sets. We're going to change up the single leg stretch if you want to. 4 more here. 3, 2, 1. As you're pulling in, twist your shoulders. Don't twist the leg. Twist your shoulders to meet the knee. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last set. Here we go. 8. If 8 is too many for you, do 6. Do 6 well rather than 8 or 4 badly and then collapse. I have no idea how many I've done this time. Oh dear. Whew. Here we go. Last set. Twisting in. I'm going to take my opposite hand to my head this time. Really trying to get that shoulder across. I'm opening up this back elbow, which is making it even harder. 2, 1, last one, and that should have been quite strong on the old abdominals. Oh, well done. Brilliant. We are going to lie on our side for some side bridges. So a bit more upper body strength today. I'm going to start on my weaker shoulder first. So I'm going to line myself up with the back edge of my mat. So my feet are in line with the back edge of the mat, my hips are in line, and this elbow is also on that back edge. So I know that all those 3 points are in line. Just allow yourself to collapse underneath to start with, and then lift the rib cage up and set your lats, set those big muscles in your back. Keep this elbow really tucked in more than you think you should. And then we're straightening the top leg. And now I'm flexing my foot, and it's very conveniently landed on the end of my mat. So I haven't got my foot flat like that. I haven't turned at the ankle. I'm flexing my foot. My foot is straight, my leg is straight, and that's going to be my support as we lift up. So taking the top arm up to the ceiling, stay lifted out of this hip all the way through. And we're just lifting the hips up enough so that you create a straight line from your pubic bone through your centre to your chin. There's that lovely straight line. You're going to hover the hips. Don't lower and collapse. Don't be down here. Just hover, just brush. Lift the hips and lower. And lift and lower. Pushing down and lifting out of the floor. One more. So only 5 of those, not too many. Now point those toes of that, point the foot of that top leg, and now lift and lower. I've got cramp. About 10 times. Keeping those hips up if you can. Keeping your shoulders stacked, keeping your hips stacked, one on top of the other. About another 4, I reckon. 3, 2, 1. If you can, we're going to thread the needle through. Take that top arm, only 3 of them, keeping the hips up. Stretch it through. Take a big breath out and kind of breath in to come back to the front, and again. And breath in. Last one. Or you could breathe the other way, it really doesn't matter, just keep that focus on the breathing. Hand coming down. In this, from that position, it's really natural to bring your legs into this. So the Z sit, sitting on your, on both hips, hopefully. So I've got this leg across the front in line with my mat, and then that leg is also in line with the mat on the other end. So you're sort of making a right angle with your legs. Let's just stretch up that same arm that we were just on the elbow. Take hold of this leg, or you might just want to reach away a little bit, and we're just going to take a side bend. This is tough, this is strong. Really just stretching out the whole of that side, and then coming upright. Well done. Twiddle everything round to the other side. So hips, elbow, soles of your feet lined up. Have a collapse to start with. Notice, a little bit hot. Notice how when you collapse, you're just really putting loads of pressure on this shoulder. Lift up. Then when you've lifted up, you can probably get that elbow in a little bit closer to your torso. Make sure you're really switched on around here. Broad across your shoulders, hips are stacked one on top of the other. We're taking the arm up to the ceiling and we're flexing. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm on the other end of my mat. It's incredible. Okay, we're here. So that's top foot is nice and flexed, so just on your side. Keep the legs straight. Lifting the hips up. Lowering for a hover. And lift. And lower. 2 more. Last one. Hold the hips up there. Imagine that straight line. Maybe relax that top ear, or the ear, just let the head relax down towards the mat a little bit. Pointing that top foot, and then keeping the leg beautifully straight, keeping the hips stacked. That top hip will want to roll out, which means your leg will turn out. Keep it parallel. Top of your foot and your knee facing forwards. Another 3, I reckon, maybe. Good, holding that there. This time I'm going to take a breath in. I'm going to try the opposite breathing. Breath in as I reach round, and breath out for threading the needle. Keep lifted up out of that side. And those ribs lifted. Whew, well done. From there, naturally, just switch the legs over a little bit. Should quite comfortably, or hopefully quite naturally, actually, it might not be comfortable, coming into this Z sit position. Hang on to that leg. One side always feels much harder than the other with this one. And you don't really go very far, but just stretch out that side seam of your back. And breathe. Great job. Okay, well done. Lovely. We are coming on to your tummies. I'm going to go this way for a change today, I think. So you need enough space to have your arms out by your sides, if you can. Have a little look at the beginning bit. So we're just going to start with our arms down by our sides, palms are up, shoulders completely relaxed. I want the tip of your nose touching the floor. Ideally, I want the fronts of your shoulders touching the mat, but that might not happen, but just really let them relax and collapse. Pubic bone pushing into the mat a little bit, legs are hip width apart, create some support for that lower back. I'm just going to lift the tip of my nose off so that this part, where we had a hand earlier, becomes in line with the rest of the spine. If the head is too far forwards, if you're collapsing down, it's the same as being a forward head carriage when you're standing. So just lift that back, and then all we're going to do initially is this movement. So if you've seen that and you know what I'm talking about, join me down onto your tummy. Backs of the hands, heavy, lower arm, really heavy. Let those shoulders relax and round forwards. Tuck your chin in. Lift the back of the head and neck. But even when I'm lifting the back of the head and neck, that's not changing my shoulders. My shoulders are still really rounded. So from one side to the other, one sleeve to the other, if you like, short sleeved, there's a curve through the centre of my back, upper back. And then I just want you to lift the shoulder tips up so that you turn that curve into a straight line. From one side to the other, that straight line is parallel to the floor. That's all we're doing. Keep your breathing nice and even. Try and keep everything else still. If you start to feel uncomfortable in the lower back, push that pubic bone in. Draw your belly button away towards your spine. I want you to feel like you're drawing curtains together, toward really heavy, thick curtains. You're drawing them together towards the centre of the window. Both shoulders, each side is one curtain, and you're drawing them towards the centre, which is your spine. I'm not squeezing my shoulder blades together, I'm just opening up and then drawing those muscles together almost, and my shoulders are shaking. Okay, hold those shoulder tips up. Now take the arms out to the side, all the way out to the side. Just turn your head and check. Hands are slightly lower than your shoulders. Keep your head lifted. You might want to come up a tiny little bit more now, so I'm on my bottom 3 or 4 ribs. From here, just release so you just got your fingertips touching the floor. Spread your fingers and thumbs apart, fingertips touching the floor. From there, keep the arms straight, lift and lower the whole arm. So we were just thinking about lifting the shoulder tips so that we had a straight line. Now I almost want you to lift your hands higher than your shoulders. Doesn't matter if that's not really happening. Try and keep everything else in the same place. Rib cage drawn down, chin tucked in, no wrinkles at the back of the neck. Lifting and lowering, not collapsing or back onto the floor, just touching the fingertips back to the floor. Get both hands to touch at the same time. And this time, lift the arms up, draw them in, take your fingertips towards your feet. Now again, lift your chest a little bit higher if you can. Now just take some circles with those arms, the whole arm. Circling inwards, little finger coming inwards towards the body. A sort of golf ball size circle, maybe a big golf ball at your fingertips. Should be very aware now from those last couple of exercises of the muscles around your shoulder blades in your back. And relax. Fantastic. Come up onto all fours. And let's just take some sit bone circles. So from all fours, hands underneath, shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Tuck the pelvis under, take your hips back towards your heels, and then just take a little swoop through. Tuck the pelvis under, hips back towards the heels, take a swoop through. Wonderful. Reverse it. Arch the back to go hips back towards the heels, tuck the pelvis under, come up and over as you go forwards. Spread the fingers and thumbs. Stress those wrists out a little bit. Bend the knees, bend the arms. Knees are already bent. Woo, well done. Great. From there, I'm going to just finish off with some, actually I'm going to take some spine circles. But as always in my classes, just have a little play about, explore, move up and down your mat. Try and maybe do a movement that you haven't really done before. Curl your toes under, push back. Oh, I don't know, take a circle with your spine going round at the same time pushing back. Maybe drop one knee in and roll around. It really doesn't matter. I encourage you to play and to change your position. So here's I've just made up a new one, but I won't try and explain that for today. Actually, this is what I feel like doing today. I feel like just being in a crouch and just sort of going from side to side. Maybe taking a little weight onto my hands. I've got enough space on this mat to be able to do that, but that just feels quite nice. Ooh, anything you like really. Maybe some shoulder rolls. Maybe some neck stretches. Hopefully that feels good. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.